as the Nigerian government insists that no ransom was paid for the release of the abducted school students. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris stated this following the Federal Executive Council meeting. Idris highlighted the students' release was deliberated during the FEC session, and the president has instructed that the culprits be apprehended and held accountable. The minister stressed that no one, including Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, is above the law, emphasizing the importance of constructive suggestions for security agencies. He notes that individuals making remarks affecting national security may face consequences.
As promised by Mr. President, these children were reunited or have been rescued from these captives. And as usual, and in keeping with the commitment of Mr. President, no ransom was paid. We are very grateful to the Federal Executive Council and Mr. President are very grateful to especially the National Security Advisor, the service chiefs, and all security agents who participated diligently in ensuring that these kidnapped children are reunited with their families. What I can tell you is that government will not stop at anything to get any kind of information that it requires to solve our problems. The security agencies are up and doing. Sheikh Gumi or any other individual for that matter is not above the law. If he has suggestions that are constructive enough for the security agencies to take, they will take. But if they think that he is also making some statements that appear to be reckless, he will also be reprimanded. There is nobody that is above the law in this regard. And I'm aware, let me put it here, and I'm aware that he has been also a guest of the security agencies to answer questions. When you make remarks, especially remarks that border on our national security, it is incumbent on the security agencies to dig further into that, and they are doing just that.
Meanwhile, the Army has handed over 131 Kuriga school children freed from the abductors to the Kaduna state government. The General Officer commanding one division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Miareso Saraso, during the handover, said 6 of the students are still undergoing medical treatment. Arise correspondent Nisi Gabriel reports.
The released Kuriga school children arrived at the government house accompanied by soldiers. One by one, they emerged from the military vehicle adorned in new attires. While presenting the school children to Governor Sani, the General Officer commanding one division of the Nigerian Army says the school children were released through kinetic and non-kinetic efforts by all the security agencies.
Through the sustained and coordinated application of both kinetics and non-kinetic efforts by the security agencies under the strategic guidance of the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander Federal Republic, through the Office of the National Security Advisor, the abducted Kuriga school children have, or were in the early hours of yesterday, Sunday, 24th March 2020, safely rescued after spending about 16 days in captivity. The students were initially received and administered first aid at the Nigerian Army Troops Forward Operating Base at Dansadao Forest in Zamfara State.
Physically present during the handover are 131 school children, while the military say 6 of them, including a male and 5 females, are still undergoing medical treatment.
We successfully freed 137 students and pupils who were abducted. When you add the staff member that died, it gives us a total of 138. But here this afternoon, I have physically present before you 131. That is still being attended to medically at our medical facility in Dalit Barracks with 5 other female students who are also being hospitalized. Your Excellency visited them last night and he saw all of them, including those that were lying on hospital bed.
Governor Sani says the circumstances surrounding the release of the school children shouldn't be speculated. He cautions insecurity merchants to be careful with their utterances.
A lot of people have been spending a lot of time coming with permutations on how these children were released, what happened. For us in Kaduna, what is more important is the safe returns of our children. We're happy they're here with us. That is more important. And I want us to please continue to support our armed forces and the entire security agencies in our own country. They are doing extremely well.
The governor reaffirmed his earlier position on the number of school children abducted, saying it is 137 and not 287 as widely reported.
These children here, when I met them, they admitted to me that 138 of them were kidnapped, were abducted. And they also admitted to me that 137 are here back, only one person was lost. So that is the reason why I want to draw our attention, particularly the media, to be careful and to be cautious in the way they report issue of insecurity in Nigeria. Most of us even believe some people are jubilating when there's insecurity. What kind of a country do we have? Politics is politics, but insecurity shouldn't be politicized.
On March 7th, these school children were abducted by terrorists in Kuriga community within Kaduna State during school hours. Now that they have been released, the Kaduna State government says they will undergo psychosocial support before being handed over to their parents. Nisi Gabriel, Arise News, Kaduna.
Of course, we do all celebrate seeing these children looking fit and happy, but it's still several issues surrounding this to unpack. Rufai, over to you.
At first, yes, we celebrate, but I pray this morning that may our children not constantly wear this inglorious ashwabi of disaster that they normally wear after being kidnapped and being traumatized for the rest of their life because the state constantly fails them. And that's a very important prayer. Yes, kudos to all of those that worked as regards bringing them back. The government keeps insisting they didn't pay ransom. Yes, that's their own line of narrative, but people have a right to inquire and question, then how were they released? Is it that the bandits all of a sudden just had a change of heart and say, okay, take them? Or did the military engage in a firefight with them? Not that we know of. Have these bandits, these criminals that perpetrated this act, have they been arrested? No. Are we going to give them psychosocial support? They said, yes, some of them are in hospital already. But apart from that, what happens to the trauma for the rest of their lives? But the most important question I'd like to ask the state is, when will the next incident of this happen? Are we going to prevent it from happening? Or we are going to wait till it happens again and we go through the cycle? We must protect the state and we must protect the future of our children.
Okay, the governor of Kaduna State, yes, congratulations to him and the office of the National Security Advisor, the federal government, in succeeding in rescuing these children who were taken from Kuriga, Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, 200 meters away to Zamfara. They found them, they brought them back. But the governor made a point that needs to be corrected. The governor was saying, journalists, the media, should not politicize security issues. No. It's the politicians that should not play politics with the lives of innocent Nigerians. These children, they are just between 8 and 15. Parading them and saying we have rescued them, you know, they are playing politics because these children should not have been kidnapped in the first place. Nigeria must be safe, we keep saying, for everybody, whether children or adults. So it's the politicians that should not play politics. They made a great effort to prepare, you know, family attire for the children, but why were their parents not there? The children were handed over to the governor. where the children should have been handed over to their parents. And it should have been good optics for their parents to be at that particular event. And we hope that the parents, have been contacted and that these children have been handed over. And what happened to the school authorities, who gave us a different number? The school authorities said 287. We're being told 137. We're now being told 131. Why is it so difficult to count human beings in Nigeria? We even do national population census. We don't even know the number of human beings that are in Nigeria. We're just always doing estimates, over 200 million, over 210 million. It should be possible to know how many we are. And in serious situations like this, we should be more exact. So journalists will continue to ask questions. Journalists are not playing politics. Journalists will ask questions about number, about what happens to these children hereafter, about what the government is doing, about the school safety program. Journalists will still ask whether or not ransom was paid. The kidnappers asked for 1 billion naira. Oh, they just decided, they woke up on the good side of the bed and they said, oh, don't worry about the 1 billion, we're returning the children. Well, we had the security expert on this program yesterday, Commodore Lawumi, and he said that's a cock and bull story, and that he is convinced as an expert that money must have exchanged hands. The Minister of Information was saying Sheikh Gumi has been invited for questioning. Well, he made the point, the right point, that nobody is above the law. If there are things that Dr. Gumi knows, he should tell the state authorities.
Absolutely. Now, in December last year, this government made a commitment to ensure that 15 million out-of-school children were brought back into the schools. Of course, we know that there's a total of 20 million children out of schools in Nigeria. Now, with these types of developments, and you also look at the statistics that say a state like Zamfara, where these children were found, has 61% of children out of school. These developments and the manner in which they're handled is concerning. We need to see who the perpetrators are. Were they neutralized, seeing as they're now admitting that there was a use of kinetic force? Will they be arrested? Will they be brought to book? How do the parents of children in these areas have their confidence restored that sending their children to school isn't a death sentence or a sentence of trauma? So these are the conversations to be had. Now, other news making the rounds this morning. The Office of the National Security Advisor yesterday said security agencies were working with the international police to apprehend fleeing Binance executive Nadeem Anjarwalla. The Central Bank of Nigeria has approved a second tranche of sale of foreign exchange to eligible Bureau de Change operators to meet their demand for invisible transactions. And in Senegal, opposition candidate Bassirou Diomaye Faye is set to be declared the next president after his main rival Amadou Ba conceded defeat. On the international scene in the US, Donald Trump was handed a last-minute reprieve in court on Monday when a New York court allowed him to post a reduced bond of $175 million to delay enforcement of a $464 million fraud penalty. Now to Russia, where the nation has charged 4 men it says attacked a Moscow concert hall and killed at least 137 people. The United States Department of Homeland Security agents have opened an investigation of hip-hop star Sean Diddy Combs, raiding his properties in Los Angeles and the Miami area.